Okay, folks, let's talk about a very, very inexpensive little upgrade to your budget-priced AR, if that's kind of the route you're going. And this upgrade is this guy right here. It's a rail. It's a two-piece quad rail. This one is for carbine. And this is my 7.62 by 39 carbine. Very inexpensive entry level. Very, very cheap. And my logic is, well, if I have a real inexpensive rifle, why not do inexpensive upgrades that seem to make sense versus spending a whole lot of money and getting expensive crap on it. So that's just kind of the way I'm going with this particular setup. So this rail is from Monstrum Tactical, and this rail, it's kind of the same design as a lot of other brands. This rail is kind of popular on the market. You see it, NC Star, Aim Sports are a couple other ones to note that have this exact same design. It's a basic quad rail design. That's pretty much made in China. Okay, I got this for $19.95, and the thing I want to talk about in this video is it worth 20 bucks? You can actually find these for $17, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen them before for 15 bucks. So these things are really expensive, and my thought is, well, this, in December 2019, is it worth 20 bucks? Is it even worth putting on a rifle? Even if it's an airsoft rifle or an extreme budget rifle like this one, is it worth it? So let's talk about that. First off, yes, it is. For $20, yeah, sure, absolutely. And the reason for that is, I'll just go ahead and show you here. So this is a basic two-piece drop-in. It's a real common design. You see it all over the place. Basically how it works is you have this top piece right here. It goes in delta ring side first. You push the delta ring back, and then it slides right over your front end cap. It only works with the circular front end caps. It won't work with the triangular. Then it has a piece on the bottom that does the same. Once you get that done, you have 4 fasteners that you put on, and there you go. It's on. One thing about the fasteners, don't over tighten. You can strip this. The metal is softer than what you'll see in higher grade handguards. And at the same time, be sure to use something like some blue Loctite, so that way you don't run into any issues with these things backing out over recoil or heat or whatnot. So first off, the quality of this thing. For $20, I don't expect much. Now, it does fit. It fits tight. There's no movement, hardly at all. I mean, I could probably get a very minute little bit of movement, but it's hardly noticeable. This right here that you're hearing, that's the play between the upper and the lower receiver, just so you know. It's straight along with the rails from the upper receiver, so no issues there. It's not bent or cockeyed, or the extrusion isn't all weird, so that works perfectly fine. The fasteners are good, everything's good on it, so it looks like it's performing as advertised. It's a rail and it fits very well. The actual Picatinny, the width of each rail portion here, the cutouts are just a hair narrow on this one. So what does that mean? There are some of my accessories that will not fit on here. Like my Enforce light will not fit on here. A couple other lights that I tried won't fit on here, but there's a lot of other different lights that will. So keep that in mind when you have something like this. It may not, just because it is what it is, it's a $20 rail, these things might be off, and it might vary from rail to rail. So these things might be off a little bit, so don't be surprised if you get this and there may be some other accessories that won't work. In that event, what I recommend you doing, so you don't waste your money, is you have a rail like this and you have a local gun shop, you can always bring this in, and if the folks let you do it safely, you can go ahead and put some accessories on, and just to make sure they fit. Okay, so you may run across that. So with that, that's kind of a minus, but again, it's a $20 rail. I don't expect much out of this thing. I really don't. The finish on this thing, I mean, the finish wear will show up relatively easy. I mean, there's a couple spots. There's one here. There's a couple pieces where a couple areas rather on the bottom here that the finish is already worn down from me trying different accessories. And it is what it is. This finish, I mean, if you buy this thing, don't expect any long-term finish durability. You can always spray paint if you want or whatnot. So it is what it is there. Applications for this, light, maybe moderate use. I have heard through reports that over a lot of use and a lot of heat up, if you're putting a huge amount of rounds through, this may start to get a little bit used due to expansion, a little bit loose rather, due to expansion. So I haven't experienced it myself because I haven't done any super hardcore round counts at one time with one of these on. So I can't speak to personal experience, but it's just stuff that I've heard on the internet from many different reviews. So take that with a grain of salt. I think something like this, if you just don't have the money to get the expensive stuff and you have a light use, moderate use AR-15, you just have one because you wanted one and you don't shoot it much, then yeah, sure, absolutely. $20, I recommend it. Keep it simple. If you're going to buy this rail with the purpose of putting things on it, avoid the lure of all the cheap accessories, so-called accessories out there. There's lights and lasers and scopes with lights and lasers and this and that and bipods. And I've seen some AR-15s that just every single inch of a rail like this is taken up with all these weird Chinese knockoff accessories. I don't recommend doing that because what's going to happen is after a while you're not going to like it and you're going to take all the stuff off for the most part. And a lot of the stuff that you get that's out there just doesn't work as far as lights and lasers and stuff. They just don't have that durability. So if you get something like this, look for a decent quality, simple light that'll fit on this and just leave it at that. Or, you know, a light and maybe some sort of hand stop or a hand, you know, a vertical grip or something like that, just to kind of keep it simple. I think that'll be the smartest way. That's kind of my unsolicited opinion. If you get a rail like this, just don't overburden it. So overall, yeah, I've already kind of said it in this video, but yeah, for 20 bucks, go for it. Especially the airsoft crowd. I think this is a great thing for airsofters. You know, the airsoft community, there's a lot of expensive gear out there, and you know, there's some people that just can't afford the expensive gear, but I think this would be pretty dang cool on an airsoft rifle. If you're into that sort of thing, that would be a good piece of kit to throw on. It is a little bit heavier than the more higher, you know, the higher grade rails. I mean, if you pick this up and then compare it to, let's say, a Knight's Armament carbine rail, you'll see the difference. This is a lot heavier. It's just the difference in metal quality and composition. So anyway, enough yakking out of me. Feel free to leave your comments, good or bad, in the comment section below. I know this is bottom of the line stuff that I'm talking about. So yes, you know, I certainly agree it will not hold up to the higher grade stuff if you want to compare it. But that's kind of not what this video is about. This video is just, hey, for the $20, is it worth it for 20 bucks? It sure is. So, all right, thanks a lot for watching, and as always, stay safe.